Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you saw in the wonderful thumbnail here, I am towing my parents' camper back to their house. So it's a little 17-foot R-Pod camper. I'm guessing this weighs about 3,000 pounds with everything all loaded in there. I've got it hooked up to the Safe Hitch, the 6-inch drop hitch, and right now I've got it about 4 inches dropped. As you can see in the picture, the Jeep is not even squatted. It really is maybe only set down an inch or two, maybe an inch, honestly, from its original height. So I've got it in tow mode right now with the Safe Hitch hooked up along with the Kurt Echo trailer hitch. So I've got everything hooked up to ensure a safe ride, and now we're just giving her the beans. So the Jeep, again, towing a travel trailer like this, most of you who are probably going to be purchasing a Jeep SRT are going to be towing something of the norm, like this travel trailer, 3 to 4, maybe to 5,000 pounds. And now that we're cruising at 60 miles an hour, I just want to reset the gas here once we get to the top of the hill and see what we get for this little trip. So I reset it, and I am also going to reset the trip odometer as well. It's really not a long drive to get to my parents. A little bit of this 60 mile an hour zone driving along with some city driving as well. So now we are just out on the cruise. Honestly, in tow mode, this engine is so powerful for towing. I can understand why they use this engine in the heavy-duty truck application, because the torque is just so fantastic. So along with this truck here, it has to have great brakes in order to stop. And of course, these dinner plate size Brembos that are on here, I think 15.8 in front and like 14.3 in the rear. Honestly, without trailer brakes, this would stop just fine. But with the application of trailer brakes, which this travel trailer does have, it really does a great job at providing extra stopping power along with these Brembo brakes. Honestly, guys, if you're looking to tow with a Grand Cherokee, you almost want the SRT, unless you are doing off-road type towing. Ooh, now I have to step on the brakes because there is a male pheasant in front of me. And now I'm just getting back up to speed. It's just so much fun. Unless you are doing any sort of like off-road type material with your Grand Cherokee, then you would want a 5.7 Hemi Overland or something of the similar. But if you're looking just to tow and put miles on towing and just doing your average like dirt road driving, go with the SRT trim. Honestly, even with the Durango 2, the Durango tows, we have an RT Tow and Go Durango 2 that can tow up to 8,700 pounds, and that tows even better than this Grand Cherokee does because of the longer wheelbase. But if we're just looking at the Grand Cherokee here, it's really quite fantastic at how solid of a ride this is, thanks to the Bilstein adaptive dampeners on the shocks themselves. So the ride is stiffened up. It almost acts like an air suspension of sorts, but it's better because you don't have to deal with the actual air suspension and the failures of air suspension. I'm not a fan of air suspension at all. I don't like it. While it is great for towing, I do not like it because of the complications with it. I've had issues in the past with Stellantis air suspension on my vehicles. So whenever I get a Stellantis product, I make sure not to buy one with the air suspension. So this has the Bilstein adaptive dampeners, and honestly, this is not floaty like you would get off of some trucks or some other vehicles. It's firm, it's responsive, it makes you feel like you have complete command of the road, and honestly, it provides for a very good towing experience. help with the towing experience are the 295 with tires that are on here. They're like mini steamrollers, and when this car gets on some bad pavement, it can tramline a little bit, but when you put some weight behind it, this Grand Cherokee really elevates and turns into a much better towing machine than it is driving, on poor road, which we're coming up to soon, that you tend to travel it on. Because it's got that weight, all 4 tires have more weight on them, especially the rear, and they just stay firmer and, of course, more traction onto the ground. If that made any sense for you. I'm trying to put it in layman terms because I'm a layman myself. But just taking the corner here, it really is nice. It really is swell, and it does a great job at keeping the trailer in its place and not from swaying. Now, of course, this trailer is equipped for trailer sway, like a trailer sway controlled hitch, which I don't have because I don't do enough towing in my personal and work life to justify spending the money on a hitch like that. But this Way Safe hitch for 150 pounds does do a good job at distributing, helping distribute the weight by telling you what your weight is at on the tongue. Right now I'm a little too light on the tongue for the load. I should be at 300 to 400 pounds right now, and I'm at about 200 pounds. So what I could have done is lower the drop hitch down another inch, but I just decided not to do that because, again, it's only a little short 15-minute trip. But I do have to say, I love the Grand Cherokee, for the fact that the butt end of the vehicle sticks up high, so there's not necessarily a rake to the vehicle, but there's a rake to that part of the chassis where the hitch is, so when you get a heavier load on like this, the squat is not as severe as if it was just flat. And that's one thing I actually noticed with the Durango. The hitch is a little bit lower compared to the Grand Cherokee. So with the Grand Cherokee, you do have to use a drop hitch because the hitch receiver is so high up in the air, which to each his own. I don't mind that at all. Hitches are a lot of money anyway if you want to buy a good one, so this Way Safe 6-inch drop hitch was just the easiest way to go for me. Now, just cruising along here, again, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to notice the ride is pretty compliant. You do notice, though, and I do honestly have to point this out, the trailer, I've towed this trailer with the Durango RT Tone Go, this Jeep SRT, a Mercedes GLE 43, and my Ram 1500. And honestly, my 5th gen Ram towed it really well. Longer chassis, it's a truck, it's meant for towing. The Durango did damn near as good of a job as the Ram 1500 did. And those two, because of longer chassis, a little bit more heavy, there was less like tail wags the dog factor. There's a little bit of tail wags the dog factor here. Not much, but on heavier loads that definitely happens where the butt end of the vehicle kind of wants to do its own thing because of more weight behind there. With the Durango, it's basically non-existent, along with the Ram truck. Now, the GLE, that's not even comparable, even though it tows 7,200 pounds, the same as this Jeep. It really does not have the towing dynamics that this Jeep does. I mean, if you're looking for all of the tow goodies, you almost have to spring for the SRT models in these later model Jeeps and Durangos, because they have the adjustable Bilstein dampening shocks. I mean, that's second to none when it comes to towing for any vehicle that I have towed with personally. Air suspension is okay. I've used air suspension in the GLE and my Ram truck. I've towed with my 4th gen Ram truck and my 5th gen. 5th gen having air suspension, 4th gen having just stock coil springs, and I personally liked it better with the coil springs because there was less of this back and forth, side to side action that you get with air suspension. Now, if you're looking dampeners like these Bilstein shocks, you're not dealing with any of that. It's a nice solid, if you're going over bumps or anything like that, it's a down-up movement, and that's it. You really feel like you are in control. Most, or if not all, of the time. This is really turning out to be a really comfy and nice ride. The exhaust, I mean, you can hear, I'm in 8th gear right now. I do have an upgraded MBRP Armor Light exhaust on here as well, but when you're cruising at 8th gear, you really can't hear it. There's not too much of an engine drone, and it really has turned out to be one of the better exhausts that I have put on one of my vehicles, because it's not super loud, but it's not super quiet. It's done a really good job at keeping the burbles down lower, and kind of a lower, because of that enlarged pipe, kind of a deeper rumble to it, which is pretty sweet. So now we're coming into town here, just tapping on the brakes. Trailer brakes have kicked in here. I just want to see what I averaged for that little loop. Speaking of the Durango, there it is. She didn't even see me. We averaged 11.8 in that little bit of towing here. 9.4 miles, 11.8 miles per gallon at about 10 minutes. So now we'll see what we get going into town. You know, when I'm driving around, especially in town here, there are just so many Grand Cherokees, whether it's the WK2 or the WL model. There are so many Grand Cherokees, non-SRTs of course, but everybody loves these Grand Cherokees. They are just such a great vehicle for towing, for overlanding, for being a luxurious vehicle. There's basically a trim for everybody when it comes to a Grand Cherokee, or even a Durango for that matter. Now, Durango, of course, you can't take off-road as much as you can the Grand Cherokee, but they really, all of them do such a great job at offering someone a product that you can't necessarily get from other brands, because, you know, there's just so many different options when it comes to choice there. But I'm impressed with the gas mileage I've gotten so far. It's been a pretty compliant ride, if I say so myself. And honestly, going over these really crappy, bumpy roads, it's a little bumpy in tow mode. If you put it into auto mode, of course, the suspension softens up a little bit. Transmission is not in tow mode anymore, so it stays in a lower gear, and I mean, it's compliant, but honestly, when you're towing something like this, you almost want it in tow mode, even when the roads are bad, just so you feel like you have more control when you are driving. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to finish up this little journey here, and we only have a few minutes left, and then I will report what is on the screen in front of me when we get to our destination. As I promised, I first got the Jeep SRT back into storage, and as I promised, we were going to see just how the Jeep did towing and then coming back. So we're gonna hop in and see how it did through the gauge cluster here. Alrighty, we're just scrolling through. And there we go. So we averaged, which couldn't have been correct, 4.7 miles per gallon. So the vehicle, I think I have to actually turn the vehicle on. There we go. So we averaged 13.8 mpgs, and we were driving for 35 minutes at 23.6 miles. Half of that was towing, half of that was just normal driving. So honestly, not too bad. I'm impressed with those numbers. The Jeep, honestly, guys, if you are looking for a tow vehicle, the Jeep is not that bad of a tow vehicle, even for gas mileage. I mean, I've had Ram trucks that, you know, when you're towing even a load like that, even that travel trailer, I've averaged 9 miles per gallon towing that back from when we actually bought it. So honestly, it's not a terrible tow rig. And because the engine is so powerful, it has to work less unless you're heavy on the accelerator. Then the engine doesn't have to work that hard because it's just such an OP engine as it is, thus making it the perfect tow vehicle. I'm not sure why Chrysler didn't put this 6.4 Hemi in the Ram trucks, to be completely honest, because it's just such an OP engine that it can really take you any place you want to go for towing, and it could pretty much tow any weight out there. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you watching. I'm glad the weather is nicer now and we're able to take our toys out. So if you want more Mopar content, like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.